In this RoutBot CNC application video, we will see how we can utilize the option of the port display. At the moment, there is a port that was previously loaded, a G-code file, and the port is currently being machined by the CNC controller. Now, there are several things we can do with that port. When we have loaded that port, the first thing that the RoutBot CNC will tell us, it will tell us that we can right-click, click the right mouse button to access certain option. The first thing we can do, we can scroll left and right, and we can also scroll up and down with the scroll button. And as we're scrolling, we can also basically be able to see the machine limit, which are the gray line over here. Now, we're going to scroll back again and see the option that we have on the port display. Right now, if we click the right mouse button on the display area where the port is being viewed, we can view the display the right routing arrow, which is, this is the current view, is basically showing the routing arrow. We can not show the routing arrow. So when we're not showing the routing arrow, basically we only show the port without the routing arrow. The other thing we can view the show route, which means it's basically how the port will be after it's machined, and as it's been machined, the port is always highlighted in blue, the current machining line. So now this port is almost finished being machined. This is on the last leg. We can see this is the last G-code leg it's machining. Another thing we can do, we can zoom out to better see the complete port. So now we can see the complete port because we have zoomed out, and now I'm scrolling up and down. If our mouse has a scroll wheel, we can also use the scroll wheel to quickly scroll up and down. The other thing we can do, we can in the zoom, we can reset the zoom. That will show us the port as it is, the basic display of the port. Now we're going to zoom out again, zoom out again, zoom out. Now we can see the whole port, and we're going to zoom out one more time. Now in the zoom area, we can also zoom 2 times, so to make it bigger. And as I've shown it before, we can reset the zoom to the basic size. Now, another thing we can also do in the view, we can, as I said, we can display the routing arrow, which shows us the direction of each routed sequence object, what it is. Another thing we can do, we cannot show that. This is the basic display, which basically shows us all the path, but does not show us the routing arrow. And we can refresh the display. Sometimes we need to do that. Most of the time it refreshes by itself, but if it doesn't, we can refresh the display. Now, if we load a new G-code port, we will show an example. We go to the file. But before we reload the new G-code port, when we got G-code ready, we can execute this G-code as many times as we wish without reloading it on the controller. But when we open a G-code port, the first time we open it, let's say we're going to open house.nc, numerical control. The first time we open that file, we're going to need to apply the G-code to the controller. So again, now we have another port that we are displaying is a small 3D house. Now I'm not showing the routing arrow. I'm only showing the routed line, what they are in pink. What is in green, that means it's the very first object to be routed, is also always shown in pink. The other objects are shown in pink. The first object to be routed is in green. The next object are in pink, and we can also display the routing arrow. We can see for this particular part that was done with the CAD/CAM software, It will start from the origin of the CAD/CAM software, which in this case corresponds to the origin of the CNC controller, and then move to the first routing location and start machining this. Then it will move to the next, machine this, move to the next, machine this, move over here, and start machining all around it, and then move to the next, machine this, and so on and so forth. So the routing arrow is quite useful to show us the sequence of the machining. But also, if we do view show route, that actually shows us what is in white is the remaining material, and what is in brown in this case is the thickness of the milling tool when the milling tool is removing material. So basically this is what will be left. And one thing of interest, if we go to CNC tool and travel, we have the option of setting the material thickness, and obviously the material thickness that we set over here should be the true material thickness of the material we're machining, and also the milling tool diameter. In this case, we have 1/8 of an inch for the milling tool diameter, and this should correspond to the real milling tool diameter that we are using. The reason why we do that is because, again, to display the part, we go to G-code display part. By doing this, the part will display properly. Because when we load the G-code does not have any information about the tool diameter, about the thickness of the material we are using, or perhaps in this case the size, the work area size. If we zoom out, we can basically better see the limit of the work area. I'm going to zoom out a lot more, and even one more time. Now I'll zoom out quite a bit, but just to basically show the limit of the work area. So the G-code that we load do not have all this information. I'm going to zoom 2 times just to be able to make it a little bit cleaner. No, let's zoom out one more time. Zoom out. No. So there we go. So I think we can see all that. This is the total work area we can see in the display. Like I said, the G-code doesn't have any information about the work area, about the thickness of the material we're machining, about the tool diameter that we're using. So this is why it's important to input the correct information in the CNC travel and tool, and then this information will be used to be able to display the part and give us a better representation of what is actually happening.